G. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all our distinguished guests, speaker, academics, student, and participant joining us both here at the Universitas Kristen Indonesia, Jakarta, and via the Habibie Center's YouTube channel. My name is Grace Putri Tesalonika, a student of the International Relations Study Program at the Universitas Kristen Indonesia. It is a profound honor to be your master of ceremony today for this highly anticipated and critically important discussion, Talking ASEAN on Campus. Please give a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, this event, a crucial collaboration between the Habibie Center and Enrique Bol Stiftung Southeast Asia, focuses on the challenging theme, diversifying engagement through BRICS and OECD, is ASEAN being deprioritized? This discussion aims to explore how ASEAN member states' pursuit of other multilateral membership may affect ASEAN's centrality and cohesion in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. Let us now commence our formal ceremony. To ensure the smooth running and success for our event, let us pause for a moment of reflection and prayer. For this important task, we invite Ms. Sarah Rahel Tobing to lead us in prayer. To Ms. Sarah, the time is yours.
Good afternoon. Allow me to lead us in our opening prayer. Let's pray. Good afternoon, Lord Jesus. Good afternoon, Holy Spirit. Once again, we give thanks because through your blessing and mercy, Father, we are able to gather in this place for our event, Diversifying Engagement through BRICS and OECD. Please bless our event from the beginning, through the middle, and to the end. Bless also the speakers and moderator who will lead our program today. Thank you for bringing us safely to this place without any lack or harm. Thank you, Lord. We surrender our entire event today into your gracious hand. Hallelujah. Amen.
Thank you, Sarah, for leading our prayer. Distinguished guests, we shall begin by singing the national anthem Indonesia Raya and immediately follow it with the institutional anthem Mars Universitas Kristen Indonesia. Please stand up and take a perfect stance. be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend our highest respect to our distinguished guest, Professor Dr. Bernadetta Nadiak, MPDPA, Director of the Postgraduate Program Universitas Kristen Indonesia, Associate Professor Dr. Ferdinand Robertua MSoc SC, Dean of the Faculty of Social and Political Science Universitas Kristen Indonesia, Dr. Muhammad Hassan Ansori, PhD, Executive Director from the Habibie Center, and Marion Regina Mueller, Director, Enrique Paul Stiftung Southeast Asia Regional Office. And also, I would like to welcome our speakers, Mr. Kavi Chongkithaforn, Senior Fellow Institute of Security and International Studies Chulalongkorn University. Sawadi ha kun Kavi, Yindi ton rapsup Indonesia ha. I hope my pronunciation is right. And welcome to Ms. Yesi Fadila, Trade Analyst from Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia. And last but not least, Mr. Leonard Felix Hutabarat, Associate Professor from Universitas Kristen Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, we begin with welcoming remarks from the host institution. Please welcome Professor Dr. Bernadetta Nadiak, MPDPA, Director of the Postgraduate Program Universitas Kristen Indonesia.
Your Excellency, Dr. Muhammad Hassan Ansori, Executive Director of the Habibie Center, Dr. Julia Novrita, Director of Program and Development, the Habibie Center, Mr. Kavi Chongkithaforn from Chulalongkorn University, Ms. Yesi Fadila, Mr. Leonard Felix Hutabarat, dan Dean Ferdinand Robertua. Colleagues from the faculty, postgraduate student, undergraduate student, and ladies and gentlemen. Selamat siang dan salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Allow me, Professor Bernadetta Nadiak, as Director from Postgraduate Program of Universitas Kristen Indonesia, to extend our very warm and deep gratitude for your presence this afternoon. When the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences first proposed this seminar topic, I immediately felt that it belonged not only to the undergraduates, but even more urgent to our postgraduate community, because the question we are asking today will shape the strategic choice that the next generation of Indonesian diplomats, analysts, and policymakers will have to live with for decades. We titled this discussion deliberately, provocatively, Diversifying Engagement through BRICS and OECD is ASEAN being the priorities. That small words, is carries an enormous weight. It is no longer a theoretical debate. In the corridors of Jakarta, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, and Hanoi, seasoned diplomats are quietly asking the same things. And are we witnessing the slow dilution of ASEAN centrality in the very moments when the region needs unity the most? The data speak clearly. BRICS related investment into ASEAN has grown more than 40% in the last 3 years. Four ASEAN member states are now in various states of OECD, accession or partnership talks. Yet the Asian Economic Community Blueprint 2025 target remain only partially achieved, and binding China's code of conduct is still nowhere is decided. This is the paradox of success. The more option we have globally, the harder it's become to keep the regional house in order. As the person responsibility for postgraduate education at UKI, I see our role very clearly. We must produce graduates who don't choose between global ambition and regional loyalty, but Now, but how understand how to make both reinforce each other. That's why today, conversation between the Habibie Center's deep institutional memory of ASEAN, Thailand's vantage point through Mr. Kavi, sharp economic realism for Ms. Yesi Fadila, and the critical scholarship of Mr. Leonard Hutabarat is exactly the kind of high-level honest exchange our students need to hear today. Dean Robertua has opened the door. Now it is my pleasure on behalf of the entire postgraduate community of UKI to invite all of you to walk through it together. Let us this next hour not only to diagnose the challenge but to begin drafting the answer, that Indonesia and ASEAN will need tomorrow. With the spirit, I wish all of productive, candid, and inspiring seminar. Thank you. My God bless.
Thank you, Professor Bernadetta, for the opening perspective. Next, we will listen to the speech from Associate Professor Dr. Ferdinand Robertua, MSoc SC, the Dean of the Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Kristen Indonesia. To Mr. Ferdinand, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Grace, for this opportunity. Distinguished guests, Dr. Muhammad Hasan Ansori, Executive Director, Habibie Center, Dr. Julia Nofrita, Director of Program and Development, the Habibie Center, Ibu Nofri, Pak Leonard Felix Hutabarat, our colleagues from Visipol, Kavi Chokita Ford, Senior Fellow, ISIS Chulalongkorn University, Yesi Fadila, Ibu Yesi, dari Kementerian Perdagangan, and the host, tuan rumah, yang punya gedung, Profesor Dr. Bernadetta Nadeak, MPD PA, the Director of Postgraduate Program, Universitas Kristen Indonesia. Dear colleagues, friends, students, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very beautiful cooperation between Habibie Center, Hendrik Bo Stiftung, Southeast Asia, Faculty of Social and Political Science, and Graduate Studies of Universitas Kristen Indonesia. I see a lot of students from Visipol here. Can you raise your hand here? Yeah, a lot of students. So you guys, this is our campus, Salemba campus. Maybe some of you are the first come here. So if you want to continue your study further, iya kan? Promosi boleh ya, Prof ya? S2, postgraduate, here we have Magister Management, Magister Arsitektur, Magister Pendidikan Agama Kristen, Magister Pendidikan, MAP, and then Doktor, Magister Elektro, and Doktor Pak, ya. And then sooner, hopefully, we get this Doctor of Management. Give a big applause for this, our beloved Faculty of Graduate Studies. This is a cool campus, very, very cool. The topic is very interesting, is ASEAN being deprioritized, and I think this is yes, 3 minutes, and this is a very interesting topic, very important topic to discuss, because today, it's not only about ASEAN, it's about rule-based international governance is being deprioritized, because we have Trump, Donald Trump, that only focus on national selfish strategic interests and less on international organizations and international law. So I don't want to waste your time. My hope is simple, that by the end of this seminar, we have a clearer understanding and practical ideas and how Indonesia and ASEAN as a whole can diversify globally without deprioritizing regionally. So hope you have very fruitful discussions, And after this discussion, you can also take a visit in this beautiful campus. And then may God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ferdinand, for your insightful words. And now, we call upon Dr. Muhammad Hassan Ansori, PhD, Executive Director from the Habibie Center, to also give a speech. To Mr. Hassan, the stage is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the Habibie Center, I feel honored to welcome you to this very important event of Talking ASEAN on Campus under the theme of Diversifying Engagement through BRICS and OECD, is ASEAN being deprioritized? And also in this regard, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Henry Ball Stiftung, Southeast Asia Office, and also to Universitas Kristen Jakarta, especially to Ibu Profesor Dr. Bernadetta Nadek, Director of Postgraduate Program, Universitas Indonesia, and the Dean of Faculty of Social Political Sciences, Universitas Kristen Indonesia, Dr. Ferdinand Robertua. Terima kasih. We have two hosts here, double host. So we need to mention both. And thank you for the cherished friendship and collaboration among our organizations. So may they continue into the foreseeable future. And again, hopefully through this discussion, we hope to gain a deeper insight and better understanding understanding of the implication of this recent development for ASEAN and ASEAN member states. And in this regard also, I'm delighted to welcome our esteemed. Again, I see and looking at the new faces and new generation here. Again, I see and looking at the new faces and new generation here, especially for those who are not familiar with Habibie Center. So it's important, to be aware that the Habibie Center is founded by President Habibie and his family, the third president of Indonesia, as an independent, non-government and independent and non-profit think tank. So Habibie Center was established as the realization actually of the President Habibie dreams to establish a modern and democratic Indonesia. And this is the reason everything and activities and all the program at the Habibie Center are related and under framework of the democracy and our democratic principle and values. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, all we know that BRICS and OECD have become important issues in geopolitical and geoeconomic dynamic. Some key founding fathers of ASEAN like Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia are equilibrating their global engagement by pursuing membership in other multilateral forums. For instance, Indonesia is pursuing a dual-track approach, engaging both OECD with the accession process in 2024 and BRICS as full member in January 2025. In other cases, Thailand has formally applied for membership in OECD in 2024 and has been a partner country of BRICS in 2024, while Malaysia opted for engagement with BRICS as a partner country to diversify partnership. Additionally, Vietnam has also been admitted as a partner country in 2025. Through not members, Malaysia and Singapore also actively participate in various OECD activities. While such treaties fall within the sovereign right of ASEAN member states, they may risk signaling the prioritization of ASEAN and exposing underlying features as member states navigate geopolitical tension individually despite ASEAN centrality narrative and +1 framework. This trend also reflects a potential leadership vacuum. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia, long hailed as the de facto leader in the region, is now arguably seen as deprioritizing ASEAN, no longer fixated on the maxim that ASEAN is the cornerstone of the country's foreign policy. as evident by minimal reference to ASEAN in the Foreign Minister annual press statement earlier this year. ASEAN has long sought a unified voice to strengthen its global presence, yet internal division and leadership vacuums have rendered this effort increasingly ineffective. I look forward to your active contribution to today's Talking ASEAN on Campus, which aim to contribute to enrich the discussion on how ASEAN can maintain its relevance and strategic importance at a time when regional cohesion appears to be declining. As several ASEAN member states may seem to prioritize engagement with other multilateral forums, such as BRICS and OECD, and how this dynamic may affect ASEAN regional architecture in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ansori, for your continued support for this critical dialogue. And finally, we invite Marion Regina Mueller, Director Enrich Paul Stiftung, Southeast Asia Regional Office, to deliver her remarks.
Hello everyone, and many greetings to Jakarta. My name is Marion Müller, and I am the Director of the Southeast Asia Regional Office of the Heinrich Böll Stiftung, or Heinrich Böll Foundation. I would like to start with a few words about the Heinrich Böll Stiftung. We are a green German foundation, and we are part of the worldwide green political movement that has developed a few decades ago as a response to the traditional politics of socialism, liberalism, and conservatism. We are also closely associated to the Green Party of Germany. We are a think tank for green visions and projects, and we are part of an international policy network. Our head office is located in Berlin, Germany, and we currently have 34 offices worldwide, from which we are supporting projects in over 60 countries, always in collaboration with civil society organizations and individuals, with academia, with media, and with various actors on a decision-making level. Our main tenets globally are ecology and sustainability, democracy and human rights, self-determination and justice, and within this we place particular emphasis on gender democracy and intersectionality. Our namesake, Heinrich Böll, was one of the most meaningful writers in post-World War Germany and personifies the values we stand for as a foundation: protection of freedom, civic courage, tolerance, open debate, and the valuation of arts and culture as independent spheres of thought and action. With our regional office for Southeast Asia that I represent, and that is located in Bangkok, from where I currently speak, we work along the themes of ecology and social justice, democracy, and participation. And in these times of global multiple crises, a crisis of peace, of democratic leaderships, of seemingly unrevocable threats to the environment, and with this to the people's well-being, we strongly believe in supporting regional dialogue along those issues and along issues that matter for nature, for democracy, and for the people. We aim not only to support transnational networking between actors and thinkers in the Southeast Asian region, but we also strive to build bridges between important fields of thought and action in the Southeast Asian region towards stakeholders and decision makers in the global north, in particular in Germany and the European Union. So having said all of this, and besides the fact that I'm only able to speak to you from a video screen, I am extremely delighted to be part of today's event that takes place not only at a critical moment in time, but that also focuses on very important matters and topics. It takes place under the series of Talking ASEAN on Solidarity Beyond Borders. And today it particularly focuses on diversifying engagements through BRICS and the OECD, and asks the very important question if ASEAN is being deprioritized. We at the Heinrich Böll Stiftung are particularly happy for this event to happen in collaboration with the Habibie Center, because we believe in the power of dialogue and of critical thinking as the most important form of addressing the condition of the multiple crises that I had already mentioned earlier. It is events like these who bring together young thinkers and distinguished experts and policy leaders to encourage critical dialogue around the importance, the meaningful focus, and the form of collaborations in Southeast Asia and the Global South, while looking at platforms of ASEAN, BRICS, and as well the aims and opportunities for collaborations with the OSCE. And it accordingly asks and discusses the priority settings that are at play and need to be balanced between national, regional, and global interests of countries in Southeast Asia. We have a very distinguished set of speakers here today who will be introduced in a minute and who will share their expertise and analysis with us while highlighting important aspects of economic growth, governance, and security, and while setting these aspects into context with the requirement to balance cohesion and collaboration, as well as prevent disalignment and support stability of and in the Southeast Asian region. This discussion is truly the requirement of these times, and I am therefore really sad that I'm not able to be part of this important exchange in person. Apologies for this once again. I would like at this place not only thank our speakers of today's event, but more so Mr. Muhammad Hassan Ansori, the Executive Director of the Habibie Center, Mr. Dari Naufal Mulyaman, the Director of the Center for Securities and Foreign Affairs Studies, as well as Assistant Professor at the International Relations Studies Program of Universitas Kristen Indonesia, hosting us today for this important event. Most of all, I would, however, like to thank Ms. Julia Novrita, Director of Program and Development of the Habibie Center, who has been highly important in assembling our distinguished speakers and conceptualizing today's session, but overall is our really highly appreciated collaboration partner of the Heinrich Böll Stiftung Southeast Asia Regional Office. So thank you very much for the collaboration, and thank you for organizing this important exchange and discussion. I'm very much looking forward to our exchange and the dialogue of today. Thank you very much.
Graduate Program Universitas Kristen Indonesia and the Habibie Center, and Faculty of Social and Political Science and the Habibie Center. We invite Professor Bernadetta Nadeak and Mr. Ferdinand Roberto and also Dr. Ansori to join us on stage for the ceremony and a group photo session. Okay, please remain at the front. Let's take a group photo. Thank you so much. And I also invite our speakers, Mr. Kafi, Ms. Yesi, and also Mr. Leonard to take a photo together. Please come forward and take a photo together. Okay, thank you to Mr. Kavin, Ms. Yesi, and also Mr. Leonard. Please have a seat. We kindly ask to Professor Bernadetta and Mr. Ferdinand and also Dr. Anson to remain at the front, please. I'm really sorry because I'm sorry. We invite Professor Bernadetta and also untuk penyerahan souvenir. Oh, souvenir. Iya. Iya. Jadi souvenir di depan ini ceritanya sekarang. Jadi di depan ini. Yes, the event will proceed with the presentation of an institutional memento or souvenir from Universitas Kristen Indonesia to the Habibie Center. And also the presentation of souvenir from the Habibie Center to Universitas Kristen Indonesia. All right. Thank you so much. You may now return to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we now transition to the heart of our event. It is time to welcome our speakers who will delve into this critical geopolitical issue, examining how this external engagement shape ASEAN's future and its narrative of centrality. Our highly anticipated session will be expertly steered by a researcher from the Habibie Center. It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Hana Mazia. Ms. Hazia is currently a researcher in the ASEAN Studies program at the Habibie Center. She holds a Master of International Relations with distinction from Monash University, Australia, and she was also the best graduate from the Bachelor of Art in International Relations, Universitas Diponegoro. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a very warm welcome and huge round of applause to our accomplished moderator, Ms. Hana Mazia. Ms. Hana Mazia, the time and floor now yours to introduce our distinguished speakers and commence the session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining today's Talking ASEAN on campus at Universitas Kristen Indonesia. My name is Hana. I'm a researcher at the Habibie Center, and today I'll be enacting as your moderator to discuss, I believe, a very timely topic on diversifying engagement through BRICS and the OECD. Is ASEAN being deprioritized? ASEAN has been playing a pivotal role in managing geopolitical rivalries, which seemingly intensify these days. Some ASEAN member states, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia, have been actively engaged with both BRICS and the OECD with different statuses and rationales, as what Dr. Ansari already mentioned earlier. These two world groupings arguably often being contrasted to one another. BRICS has become a symbol of the global South, challenging the dominance of the Western-led institutions embodied in the Washington Consensus and offering alternative to the liberal world orders. Conversely, due to its origins and high bar to entry, the OECD is often associated with the global North or affluent nations and represents the institutionalizations of liberal economic principles. These seemingly institutional competitions might create a very complex environment for ASEAN member states in the future, at one spectrum promoting high standard, and at the other end, promote more flexible, less conditional alternatives that might appear more appealing for emerging economies seeking developmental autonomy. Therefore, it will be intriguing to see whether such dynamics might reflect ASEAN's strategic calculus in navigating great power competition and global uncertainties, or might entail ASEAN deprioritization and undermine ASEAN centrality, pulling ASEAN member states in different normative directions and weakening ASEAN's internal cohesion and bargaining power. Therefore, to explore this issue further, we are honored to welcome three distinguished speakers joining with us today. First, we have Pak Leonard Felix Huta Barat, PhD. And Dr. Leonard is a senior diplomat and former Indonesian Consul General in Toronto, Canada, who currently serves as a senior strategist at the Foreign Policy Strategy Agency in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. He brings extensive experience from his role as a former UN peacekeeper or Blue Helmet in the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, an endeavor for which he was awarded the UN Peacekeeping Forces Military Medal and Indonesian Federal Medal for Peacekeeping, and in various diplomatic posts, including as a Counselor for Political Affairs and Acting Trade Counselor in New Delhi, as well as Third Secretary in Paris. He was also a former Director of Center of the American European Region Policy Strategy in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, and he has also shared his extensive knowledge as an Associate Professor for International Relations and visiting lecturer at several Indonesian-based universities, including at Universitas Kristen Indonesia. So we would like to invite Dr. Leonard to come forward to the stage, and please give our first speakers a very big round of applause. And next, coming all the way from Thailand, we have Mr. Kavi Chongkitaphorn. Mr. Kavi is a veteran Thai journalist with over 4 decades of experience covering Thai and regional politics. He previously served as the executive director of the nation's Bangkok-based media and editor-in-chief or executive director of the Myanmar Times. He has held notable fellowship at Oxford University and Harvard University, and in 1995, he has served as special assistant to the ASEAN Secretary General in Jakarta. Mr. Kavi received the Human Rights Journalist Award in 1998 from the Amnesty International and the ASEAN Award in 2010 for his commentary on ASEAN affairs. He is currently a senior fellow at the Institute of Security and International Studies, Chulalongkorn University, Thailand, and a columnist for the Bangkok Post. In regard to today's topic, he has written articles about Indonesia's BRICS entry and Thailand's bid to join the OECD. And now we would like to invite Mr. Kavi to join us on the stage, and please give the warmest welcome to our second speaker as well. Last but not least, we also have Ms. Yesi Fadila, PhD. She is a trade analyst with nearly 20 years of experience in international trade, mining export regulation, and economic policy. She is currently a Deputy Director for Export for Mining Products at the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia. She is a former trade analyst at Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia or area, with publications in journals, policy briefs, and media outlets. She obtains her PhD in economics from the Australian National University, specializing in the socio-economic, environmental, and health impact of trade liberalizations in Indonesia. And please join us on the stage, Ms. Yesi Fadila, PhD, and please also give the warmest welcome to our third speaker. So thank you so much, Pak Leonard, Mr. Kafi, and also Bu Yesi for your availability to join the Talking ASEAN on campus at Universitas Kristen Indonesia, even amidst, I believe, your very busy schedule. And before we begin, allow me to briefly outline the housekeeping rules. So each speaker will have around 15 minutes to share their insights, after which we will open the floor for a moderated Q&A sessions. And we encourage participants, especially those attending in person, to keep mobile phones on silent modes. And we also encourage both in-person and online attendees to actively engage, reflect, and pose questions. And please follow the discussion in an orderly manner. And with that, let us begin our discussions. Our first speaker is Mr. Kafi, and Mr. Kafi will enlighten us on South-South cooperations and the BRICS expansions and what this development mean for ASEAN cohesion and its role as a collective actor in the global South. So over to you, Mr. Kafi.
Well, thank you very much, Ibu Hana. Selamat siang. Apa kabar Indonesia? Saya nama Kewi. Saya orang ASEAN, tidak orang utang. Having said that, I divide my presentation in two parts. First part, I will start out with a question to you all. I need 5 volunteers. Can you put up one slide, first slide? This is the question. To cut the time short, who is the first volunteer to state what are ASEAN uniqueness? Just one, just tell me one. Anyone? I see all smiling face, like Thai people. Yes, stand up. What are the uniqueness of ASEAN? Anything that you think of ASEAN? No time to waste. Yes? First one, yes, please. Stand up and say it out loud.
Please stand up.
Yes.
For those who raise his hands at the back.
What are the uniqueness of ASEAN? Just name one, there are many.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes.
A gentleman over there,
Yes,
please stand up.
Please stay aloud. A microphone, or you can shout.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, I'm Kenzo. The uniqueness of ASEAN is diversity in
Yes.
culture.
Excellent.
Yes, that's all, thank you.
Okay, the first uniqueness of ASEAN is diversity. Thank you. What is the number 2? Number 2, we need second person. Second person, please. Diversity. You know, ASEAN is like Disneyland. We have one of all the religions inside ASEAN, and also we have all political system within ASEAN. Anything else? The second person, please raise your hand. Okay, yes, please. Say it out loud.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Habibie Sanjani from University Kristen Indonesia. The unique of the ASEAN has post-colonial memories.
What is that?
Post-colonial
memories. Not all, but that is a good answer. If I'm a professor, I will give you B+. Why? Because you forgot that not all ASEAN countries share similar colonial experience. That is why Thailand is a very odd person, odd man out. Okay, that's great. Thank you, Terima kasih. Number three, quickly, yes, quickly. Yes, yes. Okay, behind that, yes, please. Very good. We have diversity, colonial experience, and then, yes?
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Zade from Christian University of Indonesia. In regards to the uniqueness of ASEAN itself, in my personal opinion, if I'm allowed to express, is being surrounded by almost great power nations around the globe and become the center of the power projection itself.
Yes, that is a correct answer, but not right to the bullseyes. So when you are students, when you ask for uniqueness ASEAN, you talk about our relations with major powers, you get B+. That's a good answer, but not the bullseye. Number 4, I need a bullseye answer, where you said, that's it, you know, ASEAN uniqueness. Yes? Number 4, quickly, I will have my list, which is just part of it. Yes, anyone? We have diversity, we have colonial experience, and we also surrounded by hungry major power who wants to global up. Number 4, yes. Please, yes.
Okay, my name is Farhan Arken, and again, thank you for the opportunity. I think one of the uniqueness of ASEAN is, you know, what they call this ASEAN way, the non-interference system, which I don't think other international organizations adopt. I think ASEAN is the only way to implement a non-interference system. Thank you.
Yes, you got an A for ASEAN way, because it's not my way or highway. Okay, number 5.
Thank you.
I want an A+ answer. The last one. Yes? Come on. I'm overly excited now. The last one, yes, we need an A+ answer. What are uniqueness of ASEAN? Come on. Come on. Quiet. That is not the answer. Yes? One more. A+ answer. Last one. Yes? Okay, I will not insist. Your answers are very good. I will review my list, but it's not the everything of ASEAN, it's just part of it. Yes, can you show the second slide? And you will say, oh, yes. Yes, the second slide. This is what I think, ASEAN uniqueness. You know why? OECD. Why BRICS? They welcome ASEAN because you have ASEAN, you will never have problem. The reason I ask, you have to know the uniqueness of yourself first before we go out. That is why I ask you, ASEAN has no enemy. We are friends to all. If BRICS have us, they're lucky to have Indonesia as the first country to join BRICS. They also have with them ayam goreng, my favorite food. Yes. So, that is the most important. ASEAN make no enemy. You have ASEAN as friends always. But I will not go down the list because ASEAN has many uniqueness. Because ASEAN has the capacity multiplier, because we want to promote peace, we want to promote prosperity, and we want to promote cooperation and harmony. That's what ASEAN is all about. You can talk about geopolitics. I can talk about it, and our two panelists will give you behind the scene. But what I can tell you now is that ASEAN is wanted around the world because you have ASEAN. ASEAN will not divide you. Why? For example, the question we were given, diversifying ASEAN to BRICS, OECD will deprioritize ASEAN. I don't think so. It will highlight those organizations, BRICS, OECD. By the way, OECD is very expensive organization. Thailand has been dealing, I'm not telling you national secret, but Thailand has spent over 150 million in the past 33 years to learn OECD ways and norms. And we have not yet become anything. And I think Indonesia probably have to spend some more money in order to learn. While we have the ASEAN way, now we have to learn the OECD way. So there are many, there are 26 committees. In Thailand, we have identified 230 laws that we need to amend. I don't know how many laws you are talking about, but you will find out soon. To change, amend this law, it will take a lot of political goodwill. Because in Thailand, you know, we have political change, political instability. In Thailand, political instability is the form of stability. You know, you get used to it and you know. So, another ASEAN uniqueness is this. I will use the answer that given by the first person is diversity. If diversity is our character, we should diversify our relation. Now, I think you know, we have nearly altogether 60 countries that accede to Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, which is a regional code of conduct. Don't get confused with code of conduct in South China Sea. This is regional code of conduct. And the latest signatory, believe it or not, mainly come from the Middle East. Because they like us, they know that by accede to the Treaty of Amity, we can follow ASEAN, we can be peaceful and conduct harmonious relations. That is one of the most important. That is why now countries like the Philippines, the next chair, want to promote Treaty of Amity and Cooperation up the level so that it will become a UN sort of document. At the moment, it is not. It's all in the archive, but it has not yet have member country signatory. Indonesia has done a good job last year by conducting the so-called High Council member. So this is one of the most important uniqueness. Another uniqueness, which I must tell you before I end, because I think our panelists will tell you more important things about behind the scenes of BRICS and OECD. The most amazing thing about ASEAN is now you have Timor-Leste as a member 11. Can you imagine? At one pendulum, you have one of the richest in the world. And then you have one of the poorest country in the world, newly democracy. These two pendulums. And in between, we have all sorts of things. I will not describe, but I will tell you. from now on, the most interesting episode of ASEAN will be between the richest and the freest. And in between, the Thai will always in the middle, because the Thai is the only country. The reason I said, because I follow Thai politics. Thai politics has never changed, even though we changed the government. In the past 57 years, we have never changed our position on ASEAN. It's only incrementally, because for Thailand, ASEAN is the DNA. So we never change, unlike some country member. But now I think it has become unanimous that ASEAN stronger together, and ASEAN with the youngest democracy will heighten the profile of ASEAN. So I will end here because my 15 minutes has ended. You can place me question. More question would be welcome later. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much for those insightful points, Mr. Kafi, especially for reminding us about the uniqueness of ASEAN and your reflections of a strong foundation for our discussion to move forward, especially in understanding how BRICS expansion intersect with ASEAN's strategic positioning to withstand the global volatilities. Now, to further this discussion, I'd like to invite our second speaker, Dr. Yesi, to share his perspective on the OECD standards and ASEAN governance. As several ASEAN member states right now moving toward OECD accessions, could the adoptions of new economic and governance standards might create divides or present more opportunities for ASEAN? Over to you, Dr. Yesi.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hannah, for the kind introduction as well. So, Professor, both of Professor, I learned from you, of course, and also I look forward to listen to the last speakers to learn as well. I'm not actually an expert in this, but as a trade economist, let me share my view on this issue. Again, it's the view of trade economists, so it's great. So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the Habibie Center and Universitas Kristen Indonesia. I saw that you just had your birthday last month, I think, and so happy birthday to Uki. Pasca Sarjana Uki, and today I want to speak about where ASEAN stand in rapidly. Can I have my slide? Oh yeah, thank you. So where ASEAN stands in a rapidly shifting global landscape, and what Indonesia's OECD accession really means for the ASEAN's future. Next, please. Okay. Hopefully you can see it. So let me begin with a simple but often forgotten fact about ASEAN, that ASEAN is not a small economy. As shown here, ASEAN reached almost $4 trillion last year, and in nominal GDP, ASEAN accounted for around 8.4% of global population, and also we have bonus demography for ASEAN youth, and also the region grew by 4.8% last year. But really, that's not really what defines ASEAN, not only about the scale, but the interdependence. So our development is closely tied to the global markets and production networks, as well as investment flows. Next, please. So this shows the long-term trajectory of ASEAN trade. As we can see, intra-ASEAN trade has hovered around 20 to 25% for 2 decades, only around that number. So while the extra-ASEAN trade keeps rising, the trade quadrupled with the world, not with ourselves, not within the ASEAN, and even during the crisis, ASEAN rebounds quickly because we are plugged into the global supply chains. So ASEAN's economic engine is mostly external, not internal. So that's why members are now seeking larger platforms such as OECD, BRICS, G20, CPTPP, IPAF, you name it. And this is not, for me, this is not ideological, it's structural. Next, please. So ASEAN has long depended on consensus, neutrality, and convening power. So for decades, we anchored the region through the ASEAN +1, ASEAN +3, EAS, IRF, by being the meeting place. But the last 5 years fundamentally changed this logic. The last 5 years. So because Indonesia began the OECD accession, Thailand followed with a formal application. Malaysia and Vietnam strengthened ties with BRICS as partner countries. And so Indonesia also became a full BRICS member in early this year. So member states are diversifying, not away from ASEAN, but beyond ASEAN. So the question is whether this strengthened ASEAN's centrality or dilutes it. Next, please. So look at the scale difference, BRICS and OECD. BRICS and OECD are global weight class, as we can see. ASEAN, while economically significant, operates on a much smaller scale. So under PPP terms, we can see BRICS now rivals the OECD. One is on a nominal term and the other one is on a PPP. So ASEAN in both measures is a fraction of these blocks. This explains why ASEAN member states are engaging these platforms. So they need to be present where global economic rules are being shaped. Next, please. Yeah. So for the global share, it also tells us about the asymmetry. OECD dominant in global trade and GDP. BRICS rapidly rising, especially with China and India. While ASEAN important regionally, but globally modest. So ASEAN member states actually are, in my view, being rational. They are positioning themselves within the gravitational pull on those major blocks. So this is global power rebalancing, not the ASEAN erosion. Next, please. So we are now clearly in multipolar world. Institutions are no longer operate in isolation. So the OECD, BRICS, G20, and now regional platforms simultaneously influence the global agenda. So adapting to this environment, of course, is no longer optional. It's essential. Next, please. So, but ASEAN also diverge, as Professor said before. So diverge. So first, when looking at ASEAN's economy, we see a region with uneven economic wave. Like we can see Indonesia in terms of nominal GDP in a class and its own, far larger than the rest of ASEAN countries. And countries like Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam follows, while others remain much smaller. This disparity in economic are already creates different national incentives for ASEAN member states, different reform capacities and also different policy priorities. Also, next, when we see the trade over GDP, we can also see the divergence becomes even clearer. Yeah. Some ASEAN countries, like we can see Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia are extremely trade dependent, with trade volume exceeding 100, 150, and even 300% of GDP, while others, such as Indonesia, the Philippines, and Myanmar, are structurally less exposed. So this combination of different economic scales, as the previous graph, and different trade intentions, as this graph, leads ASEAN countries integrate with the global economy at very different speeds and in different ways. So ASEAN heterogeneity is now being translated into different external pathways. Next, please. So now let's turn into Indonesia's OECD accession. So as we know, Indonesia marks a major shift in our long-term economic strategy to move with OECD. So this is an ambitious target. I talked with Professor before this starts. So this is an ambitious target to meet that for the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, but but the accession carries serious implications for sure. It commits Indonesia to stronger governance and regulatory standards. Okay, but also the upside is substantial. Hopefully, stronger governance enhanced Indonesia's credibility in trade, investment, and global economic negotiations. So OECD accession is not just diplomatic; it is a structural reform agenda that hopefully that can strengthen Indonesia's position both in the region and in the global economy. Next, please. But of course, OECD accession is not symbolic. It demands regulatory transparency, predictable market rules, rule of law, confidence, and environmental and labor standard alignment. So this standard push Indonesia upward, but probably not all ASEAN members are prepared or willing to adopt these norms. So this may create more divergence. Next. So on the opportunity side, Indonesia's move toward OECD standard could raise the overall governance in the region, better regulatory quality, greater transparency, and stronger rule-based practices make ASEAN more attractive for investment and strengthen the collective economic voice internationally. But also the risk is also clear. A two-speed ASEAN, as mentioned in the tour given to me, the two-speed ASEAN could emerge where countries aligning with OECD norms advance much faster than others. This creates internal policy tensions. Different regulatory regimes, different transparency and labor standards, all moving at different speeds. Next, please. Okay, so core question, does OECD accession strengthen or weaken ASEAN centrality? My personal view, OECD accession strengthens ASEAN if well coordinated, but it weakens ASEAN if pursued in isolation. So if Indonesia's OECD roadmap aligns with ASEAN's economic community blueprint, we may elevate the region. But if Indonesia advances alone, while ASEAN remains fragmented, a governance gulf will emerge and ASEAN's influence will fade. Next, please. So what Indonesia should do, as the first ASEAN country in OECD accession, Indonesia must use OECD accession as leverage for regional upgrading, not only for Indonesia, but for the regional, and then reinforce ASEAN narrative domestically, not as a secondary forum, bridge OECD and ASEAN standards whenever possible. I think even for Indonesia, it's hard to bridge the standards between Indonesia and OECD, and then let alone the homework is to bridge with the ASEAN standards as well, and then lead, not leave ASEAN, of course. Next. And this is what what ASEAN should do, sorry. So create some kind of ASEAN OECD convergence platform to share standards, to share best practices, and etc. And also institutionalize the capacity support for lower governance AMS, as Professor said before, especially how we can also embed this to make it align with like Timor-Leste, for example. It's very hard, I think. So also ensure the external membership are linked to ASEAN frameworks, and also redefine its centrality. So, next, please. Okay, I think this is my last slide, So let me close with 3 key points. First, ASEAN is at a strategic crossroads, economically strong, but institutionally pressuring. Second, diversification into OECD and BRICS. It's not a threat, hopefully. Well, the real threat is uncoordinated diversification. And third, Indonesia's OECD accession is a historic chance to elevate ASEAN, but only if ASEAN moves together. So if aligned, ASEAN becomes more competitive and more relevant, but if fragmented, ASEAN risks drifting into a two-speed future. And the region's directions is not predetermined. Of course, the choice and the responsibility is ours because we are ASEANs, right, Professor? I think that's all. Thank you, and I look forward to our discussions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yesi, for those insightful points about the risks and opportunities of OECD standard on ASEAN's governance and future directions. And I especially like your statement that engagement diversification is not a problem, but lack of coordination is. And before I turn to the last speaker, I would like to gently remind the audience on YouTube platform that you can write down your questions or comments on the live chat feature. And now I would like to invite our last speaker, Dr. Leonard, to share your thoughts on ASEAN's relevance amid today's geopolitical uncertainties, particularly on how ASEAN member states' engagements with BRICS, the OECD, and other platforms might affect ASEAN centrality and internal cohesion. For Dr. Leonard, you may take the floor.
Thank you. I will need your permission. I will stand up in this challenging time, so I will not be sitting here. We have heard the explanation from Professor Rafi about BRICS, why BRICS for Indonesia, and explanation from Dr. Yesi about OECD. I just came back from London and Berlin 2 days ago. It's a bit jet lag. The same questions. Why Indonesia has to join BRICS? That's colleagues in United Kingdom asked me. And colleagues from think tank in Germany asking the same questions. Will Indonesia leave ASEAN? So 50% here for law students, another 50% international relations. In 15 minutes, you have to be sure why Indonesia thinking about BRICS and OECD. At least you will have the answer when you are leaving this room in these 15 minutes. Let's see. Slide, yeah? So the questions about this policy, there is the concept principle, there is also the strategy. We are not talking about theory, but to understand the behavior of the countries, including your government, Indonesia. So, ASEAN at crossroads. Can centrality survive strategic diversification? The word centrality, it is a low substance because it was in Charter of ASEAN. For international law students, that's the law documents. So this is not just an ordinary words. All members of ASEAN should accept that as the members of ASEAN, the principal centrality in navigating all powers in our regions. That's the standpoint. That's the principle. All the leaders in ASEAN should understand about this position. So 5 things we should see. Strategic importance of ASEAN in this multipolar world. Whatever happened in Europe with Ukraine war, whatever situation in United States with President Trump, this is the reality. Indonesia will be in this kind of challenge. So we have to balance our global partnership. Professor Rafi already mentioned we need more partners. Is that wrong to be in BRICS? Or we just only relate with OECD? When we are talking in OECD in these 3 years, it is about law. Because we have to harmonize all our rules, regulation in our domestic laws in line with OECD standards. If you want to be an advanced economy, that's the challenge. You like it or not. But it's good for us. If you cannot reform by yourself, then external powers can make a big difference. That's the reason about OECD. But of course, when we try to join BRICS, there is the risk. Will Indonesia leave ASEAN? Still ASEAN priority for Indonesia, but don't forget the history. Our cornerstone of our foreign policy, the founding fathers, why we built this nation, Indonesia. ASEAN is our priority. Don't forget about that, because that's why we have this active and independent foreign policy. We cannot be allied to particular global powers. Then we will see opportunities with this engagement in BRICS and OECD. Why BRICS? Why OECD? So our colleagues from the Western countries should not be afraid of Indonesia's involvement in BRICS. But what will be the reasons for that? So we will still promote our ASEAN centrality and cohesion. ASEAN is more than a region, our neighborhood. It is a shared identity. In a changing world, let unity be our compass. In our life, we need principles. We need direction. If not, you will lose your way, including as a nation. So this context, why? Indonesia, OECD accession, full membership of BRICS in 2025, along with China, Russia, Brazil, South Africa, and India. But Thailand also applied for BRICS partnership. It is not wrong for Thailand to join BRICS. Malaysia, Vietnam also consider in joining BRICS. Singapore and Malaysia also active in OECD. All members, the founding fathers of ASEAN, joining OECD as well as BRICS. What happens? Do they all will consider ASEAN is not important anymore? What is the reasons behind of this? As ASEAN member states diversify alignments, this is the question of our partners. Unity and centrality is not anymore in ASEAN. Is that so? So there is the challenge at the moment with this internal fragmentation. What will be the risks? What are the concerns? Competing strategic vision. What is the vision of Thailand, of Indonesia or Malaysia? Can be different vision as individual country. But as a collective entities in ASEAN, it should be one vision only for Southeast Asia. Unequal governance and standards. We cannot have economic growth the same ambition. From Timor-Leste, the new members, up to Cambodia or Laos. So there will be two speeds. Dr. Yesi already informed all of us, two speed level. The one with the OECD framework, like Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. The other ASEAN mainland, like Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, will have different speed. Is that possible? Even in European Union, they have two mechanisms. It's not us. We are not the only one. So Western country cannot dictate Indonesia. Western country cannot just tell Indonesia what should be right for Indonesia or our region, if we have the principles. So we do know the geopolitical alignment. There is perception, there is no leader in Southeast Asia. There is no leader in ASEAN. If there is no leader in ASEAN, then ASEAN should be abandoned. Or we should leave ASEAN like UK will leave European Union. Do we need that? You as the young generation, do you need ASEAN for our future, for our welfare and prosperity? It's not only 10 uniqueness, as Professor Rapi informed us, maybe more about ASEAN. We are not living in conflict and war like in Europe. Don't take it for granted. Do you want to be in a war or conflict in your life? Trust me, you will not go to that era. It's not good. So why BRICS? There is the positive engagement. We need collective global south. We need energy commodities. We need hedging strategy. We cannot rely on the West. We cannot rely on the East. Learn from the history, from our founding fathers. But there is the risk of parallel political agenda. And there is potential bloc-to-bloc rivalry, China and United States. That's a reality. But why we have to join another one? Yeah. OECD. This is about harmonization, rules, regulation, not only for economy, but also for our system as a nation. Global high standards to become an advanced economy, a developed nations. So, there is to ASEAN. Who will run faster? They will run faster. Who will just wait to see? They will wait at behind. So, pressure will be there. Diversify partnership, but never compromise ASEAN's centrality in the global arena. This is the perspective of the theory. There is regionalisms, there is hedging strategy, but also regime complex. Can ASEAN remain the primary platform in this collective action? That's the challenge for everyone in Southeast Asia. We need the driver, yes, but there is also the impact. We are under pressures. Everyone under pressure. It is not life if there is no difficulties. It is not life if there is no challenge, including government or countries. So we can see next, the centrality, policy-driven or different one. So you can see the implication in this chart. It can be shared to you later for the information. I will not explain, but you can ask me later. But we can see the next. It's not only the comparison, but centrality. It is not the narrative. It's not only about story. As the young generation, you have to know the narrative of ASEAN in our region. Indonesia, as a default leader of ASEAN. We are the heart of ASEAN. It's not because of 40% ASEAN GDP is on Indonesia. So when we are talking about ASEAN, almost 50% about Indonesia. So we will see the case of Indonesia. We need to redefine the studies of ASEAN. Why you have to know more about ASEAN. What will be your contribution, your views about ASEAN? As the youth, you need the academic discourse in this university and center of ASEAN, but what will be the innovation for the future of ASEAN? Global partnerships, of course, expands possibilities. But our belief, ASEAN centrality, secures our future. Do you believe that kind of things? If you believe, you have to defend the idea of ASEAN. So what will be the proposal? We need to upgrade our economic commitments for region. We need this ASEAN outlook of Indo-Pacific for this kind of rivalries. But the campus need innovation, campus need talks, strategic innovation about our region. What will be the key takeaways this afternoon? Diversification is inevitable, but fragmentation, the reality, is not inevitable. Do you accept war? War will be there, but can you avoid the war? Yes, you can avoid the war. You want to avoid the war, you have to do something about that. So ASEAN centrality must be actively defended. The question is not whether ASEAN remains central, but how, to what extent it should adapt. So adaptive, credible, but youth, all of you should have this kind of strategic thinking. So ASEAN really at a crossroads. The direction is ours to shape. It is us. So the last thing in my presentation, build bridge globally, a long way. Strengthen pillars regionally among all the way. That's ASEAN unity is our greatest strength. With that, I will close my presentation and I will wait for your questions later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leonard, for sharing such a valuable perspective with us. And I especially appreciate your statement that diversification is inevitable, fragmentation is not, and that ASEAN centrality must be protected and should never be compromised in the global arena in order to safeguard our region's future. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we now move to our Q&A sessions. And before I pick questions from YouTube, I'll give chances to audience attending in here first. So for those of you who have questions, please raise your hands. Okay, for a gentleman over there.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Akbar from Universitas Kristen Indonesia, International Relations Study Program. So I would like to ask about environmental issues in ASEAN. If ASEAN and OECD cooperation, just like Dr. Yesi said, is about to happen, how would ASEAN pursue environmental standard and balance the pursuit high economic growth while maintaining the environmental issues? Because we know that developed country is hard to maintaining. In one side they want to hike economy, but one side they want to maintain the environmental issues. So how would ASEAN do that? Thank you.
Sorry. To whom your question is directed? To all speakers? Oh, okay. So, what's your name? My apologies. Akbar, okay. So, Akbar asks to all of the three speakers about the strategic dilemma, how to balance environmental protections and high economic growth. Who wants to start first? Oh, Mbak Yesi. Economist, we have trade analysts in here, so Mbak Yesi will start first.
Okay, let me start. So the hard part will be completed by two professors here. So in economic, we have inverted Kuznets curve between environment and economic development. So in the first phase of the economic development, the environment will degrading, but later on, after the optimal one, the environment will improve. So whether we can achieve that optimum, the question is ours to answer. So regarding the standard of OECD, yes, OECD has a good standard, of course, and also have a committee on that, the environment. So how long? We don't know yet. Indonesia has just submitted, I think last month, our self-assessment of law and regulatory and standards, and we are waiting for the assessment from the OECD. So let's see after that, how long can we go from here to what is the optimum way. Thank you.
Okay, we are talking about economy and environmental. It's like two values in the same coin. So for ASEAN, including Indonesia, if we will follow the same tactics and strategy for the last 10 years, the result will be the same. So if you want to go further, to have a different result, try something out of the box, and it must be different strategy. So expect a change for the next 5 or 10 years, because we will go further. The expectation not only 5% of economic growth for Indonesia. So that's why the new involvement will be there for economic growth. But we cannot sacrifice everything for the growth, because the environmental damage because of the industrialization, like work and balance. So everything will be there. There is always collateral damage because of something. But we need to minimize the negative impact of environment. So when the OECD set the standard, high standard for environmental regulation, it is nothing wrong with that. We will follow the standard, but we realize our capacity is not at optimum at the moment. So we will try to learn. They will give the capacity building. We try to do our best to adjust to adapt this new regulation to become an advanced economy. So it is not Indonesia or ASEAN will sacrifice environment only for the sake of economic growth. Everything needs sacrifice. So that's why even for us, the commitment from the government, we will harmonize our rules and regulation with the intention to be or to become a better economy for Indonesia. So we will have a better welfare and prosperity, not only for Indonesia, but also for Southeast Asia. That's why ASEAN also engaged with European Union, with other countries. When particular member state of ASEAN try to be in OECD, they want to attract the investment from Japan. They want to attract the investment from Europe, but they have to follow OECD principles. You take it or you leave it. We want to have that, then we will join OECD. We cannot be alone. We have to adjust. That's the strategy for our economy. That's my comment.
Well, thank you very much for the question. I can only answer from the viewpoint of Thailand. And I think the main reason Thailand joined OECD, and it will have a long implication. Number one is anti-corruption. Because they realize that you initiate change, anti-corruption within the country, it does not work. So you need external pressure, expensive one, to do that. So if there is less corruption, we hope that incrementally we will have a better environment protection, because a lot of money has been wasted away, especially on environment protection. So if anti-corruption works incrementally, then we will have a good governance. Then good governance will lead to the effective implementation of environmental policy and measure. You know, Thailand has already set 2050 for zero neutral emission, and to 65 for the climate change thing. But it can only be done if we follow at the moment the clear standard of the OECD. And also there's another route that ASEAN is taking, that is green economy, which I think all 11 members are taking the leads, trying to promote green economy as the future agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all speakers. Moving on, we would like to also open question and answers for those attending in person. For those of you who want to ask questions, please stand up. Please raise your hand first then. Are there any more questions from participants? Yes, for a gentleman over there. And are there any more questions? Okay, let's start here first.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenzo from International Relations Study, University Christian Indonesia. Moderator, let me analyze this context before posing my question. Okay. Referring to regional security complex theory, Barry Busan said one region is impact for another region. In this context, BRICS and Indonesia is also should be viewed solely through should moved in economic, but also about politics. And furthermore, both form of regionalism and especially United States looked BRICS and OECD its new hegemony, and that's threats of this sovereignty of United States. Everybody in political country Indonesia free and active. I think free and active is for major power, United States and China. And Susan Straits in her book Country and Market said market structure will be into the structural market. And I think this is the problem. Indonesia looked by major power is the object capital, and then give the many problem for Indonesia golden 2045. And I think the Sukarno in May 1965 said one country can be massive after the founding fathers understanding the geopolitics. I think this era cannot by the founding fathers here. And my question is, what is Indonesian strategic position and vital role in confronting global challenges posed by external great power in this region? Thank you.
To whom is your question directed? Kenzo? To all three speakers? Okay. So are there any more questions from the audience here? Are there any more questions from the audience in here? If not, would you mind to address the questions first? Pak Leonard, about Indonesia's strategic positions amidst major power rivalries.
Yes, maybe first I will comment and then you can add more about the strategy of Indonesia with regard to this kind of rivalries of great powers. Great powers from era to another era will be there, and we have to know our position in this world. So Indonesia as the middle power, we have to see the context. We will not go to war with particular great power, but we have to be survive in this situation. So you have to engage with all this kind of power struggle of great power, including in our regions. That's why the founding fathers told us that mendayung di antara dua karang. Jadi, that's the principle. Our constitution demanded in our constitution that Indonesia could not be aligned in particular major power. That's in the mandate. Whoever rule this country, whoever the president of Indonesia, should follow the constitution. That's in the preamble of our national constitution. So we are aware, no one will pass that red line. So in order to follow that, our engagement with OECD is our active roles to be a developed economy. We cannot just rely on particular power, but our joining in BRICS, that's for our Golden Indonesia 2045. We will use all partners, all resources for Indonesia's growth. We cannot rely for one side only. We learn from the past since 1945. That's the principle of our foreign policy. That's the mandate in the Constitution. If not, look what happened in Europe. Not to name a particular country in the conflict in Europe at the moment. When to be sided with particular power, they have to face a big conflict or even a war. We do not want to go for a war with China. China is not our enemy. China is our friend. We have to deal with China, but not to see China as our adversary. Because China is not democratic, then as democratic country, we will go to the war as the US manifests destiny for democracy. It's not a must for us. Sometimes European will see European problem is problem of the world, including Indonesia. But Indonesia's problem is not Europe matter. That's the situation. But we have to firm our position that we will go for our direction for economic growth, for our prosperity. This is our way. This is the ASEAN way. You like it or not, ASEAN has its own culture. If they have to solve the problem in long time, so be it. If they cannot solve the problem just to avoid the problem, so be it. Because no one can force Southeast Asia, ASEAN, including Indonesia, for their own self-interest. The bottom line, the national interest of every particular country is the most priority, including by the great power. So that's my comment. I hope we can be to our better economic growth for the next 5 years. Thank you.
Well, I just built on Leonard's comment because his comment, Indonesian comment, is ASEAN main position. If Indonesia leads, ASEAN also will be in high profile still and maintain it. So I have little to add. But there's one thing about Thailand, because of its history, because of its non-colonial, its dealing with major power is what I would describe as very friendly. Sometimes people thought that we are pro-China, and then if you ask the other person, said we are pro-America, and then you ask the other, they would say you are pro-Russia, you know, so we are pro-everybody. But the most important thing is that we are pro-Thai and also pro-ASEAN. So I think Professor Leonard has mentioned it very well that ASEAN has to maintain its centrality, and unified its voice. And indeed, the latest biggest challenge since ASEAN establishment is something that you can't see. It's not conventional war. It's reciprocal tariff measure by United States, which at one time is the initiator of free trade. Now ASEAN is facing reciprocal measures, and this is the most important challenge because, as the professor has said, ASEAN has China as number one, as the biggest trader for the past 14 years. And United States will now look into the issue of transshipment, which will involve all ASEAN countries because all ASEAN members have priority trade with China in all the category of manufacturing, whether it's electronics, textile, you name it. So it's very difficult to get into particular and dismantle the supply chain resilience that has been existing for the past 25 years. Now, ASEAN, more than before, and your generation must find a way how to increase inter-ASEAN trade, make it seamless, make sure that's one important uniqueness ASEAN have to implement all of it. I think the 227 protocols and agreements, because so far less than 60% have been implemented in total. If ASEAN could implement all the agreement and protocol we have with goodwill and with common decision, I think ASEAN will survive and nobody can take punitive action against us. Thank you.
Well, I think that's already comprehensive, but probably I add a little bit. Yeah, I think Indonesia and ASEAN still play the middle power game, but stay in the middle, not choose sides, and stay actively not aligned with anything, with any sides. So, but in economic terms, I can say that like BRICS is more on trade, and OECD is more on investment and standard and higher standard to reform. So because the trade, ASEAN and Indonesia's trade with BRICS larger than with OECD, and investment coming from OECD larger than coming from the BRICS. So for Indonesia itself, like since the trade war between US and China, Indonesia stands not choose any sides, but try to take advantage of both sides, both relations, both good relations with US and with the China. So because China is Indonesia's #1 trade partners and US the second, but US gives the highest trade profit for Indonesia. So trade surplus for Indonesia. So Indonesia stay there, and then what Indonesia is probably like trader minds, like always actively seeking for new opportunities, but still maintain partners, or like mencari pasar baru tapi jaga langganan. That's it for Indonesia. This is from the economic view, I think. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for amazing answer for all of our speakers here. Because it seems there is no more questions from audience, I would like to ask questions for all of the speakers. So do you think that promoting BRICS agenda while simultaneously pursuing, for example, competition reforms and implementing various OECD standards might be perceived as a mixed signals for investors, undermining their confidence? Likewise, adopting OECD standards while promoting, for example, export restrictions in the name of policy autonomy would also be read as mixed signals as well for investors. want to answer? Mbak Yesi.
Yeah, of course, that's one of the goals that by joining OECD and trying to cope with the standard of OECD, it will give signals for investors, especially for international investors, that Indonesia is the best place to invest. Yeah, of course, I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, I think the same answer is also true for Thailand because in a way, all the ASEAN member wants to attract foreign capital. The only way is to adopt higher standard of the so-called global norms. But sometimes you try within your own country, it does not work, like in the case of Thailand. And I shock a lot of people said that you join OECD because you want to eliminate corruption internally, because we cannot do it ourselves, so we use external pressure. That's the only way.
Yeah, sometimes when we have discussion with our partners in another part of the world, they will see Indonesia, if Indonesia engage with many international agreement with regard to trades and investment, they will see Indonesia as an open economy. This is good for the business partner, this is good for the investment destination. Talking about business and economy, it is about perception. It's about market. If they don't have good perception, and then you will not have the business. So that's why we have to go for many international trade negotiations with many countries. What for? This is about perception. This is the image of our country and the condition of our rules, regulation, and law enforcement in Indonesia. If it is seen good, then business will be there. If it is not there, the foundation, then the business will not be there. For an advanced economy, we cannot be inward looking. We cannot stand alone in this world. We need foreign direct investment. We need foreign partner. We need international trade. We cannot be alone. We cannot have the closed economy. Thus the government will do many things to be in that kind of policies, strategies, and direction for the welfare of its people, for us, all of us here in this building.
Thank you so much for Dr. Leon, Dr. Yes, and also Mr. Karvi. And due to time constraint, I think we should wrap up our discussions. And from the discussion, we can conclude that pursuing engagement with both BRICS and the OECD, despite different natures and operational frameworks of these organizations, does not necessarily diminish the strategic role of another. BRICS offers a platform to amplify South-South cooperations, offer market expansion opportunities, and access to alternative financing, while the OECD brings structural reform acceleration in order to boost investor confidence, attract more FDI flows, improve national competitiveness. And that dual engagement might represent a balancing act and or strategic pragmatism by ASEAN member states aimed at mitigating vulnerabilities borne by global uncertainties while maximizing opportunities in an increasingly multiple world. And with that, we would like to wrap up. And I would like to also thank our audience for actively participating in the discussion in this room and also from YouTube platforms. And please give a round of applause to all speakers. And once again, thank you so much for Pak Leonard, Mr. Kavi, and also Bu Yesi for sharing your thoughts with us. And also please stay tuned on the Habibie Center social media account because we still have series of Talking ASEAN seminars and other interesting events. Thank you for your attention and a very good afternoon. I will give the mic back to the Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hannah Mazia, for your masterful guidance, and our deepest gratitude to our three distinguished speakers, Mr. Kavi Chongkitafern, Ms. Yesi Fadila, and Mr. Leonard Felix Huta Barat for the truly insightful and critical dialogue. You may now be seated. Kapunaha. Ladies and gentlemen, we have successfully examined the implication of BRICS expansion on South-South cooperation, discussed the risks of potential to speed ASEAN due to OECD accession standard, and explored how ASEAN can maintain its strategic relevance amidst global geopolitical shift. With the conclusion of the Q&A session, we have reached the end of today's Talking ASEAN on Campus. On behalf of the Habibie Center, Enrique Bol Stiftang Southeast Asia, and Universitas Kristen Indonesia, we extend our thanks to all our speakers, partners, and participants for your excellent engagement and presence. We hope the critical insights shared today will fuel further dialogue among youth and future of our region. I am Grace Putri Thessalonikas, your Master of Ceremony, bidding your farewell. We sincerely apologize for any shortcomings or missteps. We look forward to welcoming you to our next program. And also, guys, we have a seminar which will be held on 27 November 2025 in Pullman Tamrin, Central Jakarta, featuring Professor Angel Damayanti, PhD. See you there. Good afternoon, thank you, and have a nice day.
Mudah-mudahan nggak